What happens when a reporter comes face to face with the Aghori Cannibal Sect? Let's see what happens.
Maybe I'll take this off right now and then... Just thank you. Okay. Thank you. Why are people on that side of the river so afraid of the Aghori? I see. Why do... like this may have been a mistake. Maybe we just, like, somebody distracts him and I just leave.
Let's see where it goes.
We can be polite. I can be very polite about it.
Why do the worst people keep trying to get involved with cultures they know nothing about? My man, you're over here trying to film a documentary. These people eat human flesh for a living. He can sense that you're soft already. Your mannerisms, everything gives it away that you're some spoiled Western boy child. He was already trying to act in a hospitable manner. He put his headband, wrapped it around your head just to show, hey man, well, welcome to our tribe. You can observe, whatever. You rejected it. You look weak. You lower eye contact. He took it off your head and said, forget it. Now you're trying to ask him questions after the fact. He doesn't care what you have to say. You already sound soft. You look weak. You look fragile. And these people eat flesh for a living. They don't care what you have to ask him about other tribes. He says, do you want me to cut your head off? And notice how the moment he said that, his interpreter, the man that was sitting in between the two, literally disappears in the next scene. One scene, listen, this was within 3-4 seconds. They already cut scene and he was gone. My man's just got up. He's like, I have no interest in what is going to happen here. I'm gone. You're on your own, my friend. So with that being said, if you want to engage with cultures that you have no idea about, please come prepared and try not to insult them. It's not about you being uncomfortable or your Western value system. You've already decided you're going to take a trip into their remote culture with their own value systems. You don't start off by disrespecting him and having him remove the head bead that he already placed on your head. You're already showing from the jump you're not willing to engage in their culture. And to them, you don't understand the degree of disrespect you may be causing. And also, send somebody else next time, not this guy. With that being said, let's move on to our next story here. Turkish lawmaker Hasan Bitmez collapses from a heart attack just seconds after saying Israel would suffer the wrath of Allah. The 53-year-old lawmaker collapsed after giving a speech in the General Assembly Hall in Ankara, the capital of Turkey. Quote, we can perhaps hide from our conscience, but not from history. Israel will suffer the wrath of Allah, he said seconds before collapsing. Bitmez passed away after he became disturbed during his speech.
Kurtulsanız vicdan azabından kurtulamayacaksınız. Vicdan azabından kurtulsanız tarihin azabından kurtulamayacaksınız. Tarihin azabından kurtulsanız Allah'ın gazabından kurtulamayacaksınız. Hepinizi saygıyla selamlıyorum.
Birleşime 20 dakika ara veriyorum.
The most politically charged piece of real estate on all of planet Earth is in Jerusalem, where the temple stands. We understand that the world's three major religions, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, all converge and meet at this one point because they have a stake in history regarding the temple. Christians and Jews, we understand the Davidic history and context involving King Solomon building the temple after God said David wouldn't be able to build it, but his son will. King Solomon successfully did that. That fulfills biblical Judeo-Christian prophecy. In Islam, however, they believe it is their second holiest site because that is where Muhammad rose into heaven. So for one to rebuild that temple, we understand that this conflict here in this region will only be amplified. In fact, a rebuilding of the temple, even touching a single stone on the Temple Mount, can result in a World War III. Now, what's happened here in this story? Our hearts go out to the families of those involved, especially for this individual who lost his life. The Bible tells us very clearly that he who watches over Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict is only bound to increase in terms of the violence and the destabilization of the region. For those thinking that there could be a two-state solution, they don't really understand the historical significance of the conflict in this region. The history of this region dates back as far as King Solomon and King David. At the center of all this, the most central and important piece of geopolitical property that exists has to be the temple. And this is the very reason why there can never be a two-state solution, because the significance historically and theologically with both parties involved is just too high-reaching. The Temple Mount has very important theological and historical significance with the three main religions of our world, and that is Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. Now, Christianity and Judaism, they have a claim in terms of the Davidic prophecy that had to be fulfilled, and that was the building of God's temple, God's holy temple. King David sought out to build the temple, but God told him specifically that he will not do it, but it would rather be his son. And that was fulfilled when King Solomon became king after King David. And now, because of the sins of King Solomon, God also told him that the kingdom will be split. And because of that, there have been thousands of years of infighting. So Christianity and Judaism are similar in the fact that they understand that the Davidic history and timeline aligns with them. But Islam tells a different story. Islam considers the Temple Mount to be their second holiest site. This is where Muhammad rose into heaven at the end of his days. Now, we understand that if a single stone is touched on this Temple Mount, this will basically lead us into World War III. So because of that, the temple has not been touched ever since. It's been occupied under the Ottoman Empire and until then. We know that as of now, in order to maintain peace and stabilize the region, we have to leave the temple alone. While all three major world religions still hold a stake in it, none of them are willing to move forward and rebuild the temple until just recently. So we know that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, one of his administration's tasks is going to be rebuilding this temple. Now, some could call it crazy, but this is what he wants to do, and they're going to seek to do it because we understand that they already have all the plans, all the information necessary to begin rebuilding the temple and start off with sacrifices. So for those thinking that there can be a two-state solution, it'll never happen unless one miraculously decides to give up control of the Temple Mount. And we understand that will never happen because there are more theological implications than just what secular historians believe to be the most significant factors. I will say, look out on this channel. We will be doing a panel discussion on the Israeli and Palestinian conflict. So I'll just go ahead and plug that now. But let's go ahead and move on to the next story. Our favorite James Bond supervillain, Klaus Schwab of the World Economic Forum.
Who will really command the force in this revolution and its technology like artificial intelligence?
What's your sense of who's best placed at this time to lead the world into the fourth industrial revolution? Because you pretty much created this term. We're seeing the kind of technological strides that China has made with Huawei, with the 5G technology. Do you believe that this could potentially be China's time once again?
We should make here again let's say a differentiation. On the one hand, we have state capitalism. On the other hand, we have shareholder or private capitalism. So it's a clash between two systems. I believe that state capitalism in the short term provides certain advantages because you can mobilize in a concentrated way a lot of resources to reach a specific objective. But I believe that the future is not state capitalism or shareholder capitalism. The future is what I call stakeholder capitalism, which is combined with a social responsibility.
So basically, Klaus Schwab is stating that the world will no longer be run by superpowers such as the United States of America. It'll be run by the World Economic Forum stakeholders such as BlackRock and Bill Gates. State-sponsored stakeholders as the future, that basically means he who has the gold makes the rules. If we enforce a worldwide caste system where people don't even have the money to get out of their socioeconomic tier, how on earth will they have the ability to impact the direction that their communities, their states, and their nations go into? What Klaus Schwab is basically advocating for is some one world totalitarian government. He calls it the fourth industrial revolution. Now we know when a revolution happens, the old must be destroyed to make way for the new. Klaus Schwab is going to be a puppet that ushers in this new world order, which he calls his fourth industrial revolution. They cannot have loose leaves. They need to maintain order, and that involves getting rid of the middle class, that involves getting rid of capitalism, that involves getting rid of free speech, freedom of press, the freedom to peacefully protest. Basically, everything that the United States of America stands for is in direct opposition of this new industrial revolution. If you need to see a blueprint that exists, it will look most likely like the Communist Chinese Party. And everything that they're advocating for basically will exist in China as of today. You have high-end security states where there are cameras everywhere, facial recognition. There's a caste system that exists to the point where you can't buy and sell outside of a zip code if your social credit score is too low. You cannot travel by train, plane, bus if your social credit system is too low. If you speak out publicly against the regime, any political leaders, you can basically be imprisoned without due process of law. And in worst cases, you can disappear. And there are countless stories that are being told in China where basically the government erases all records of you ever existing. So they're mourning and they're trying to seek justice, but because your information is now deleted from the database, you don't even exist, and there's no story to be told. The only people that remember you now are your loved ones and your close friends.
The technology now is, and digital technologies mainly have an analytical power. Now we go into a predictive power, and we have seen the first examples, and your company very much involved into it. But then the next step could be to go into a prescriptive mode, which means you do not even have to have elections anymore, because you can already predict, and afterwards you can say, why do we need elections? Because we know what the result will be.
This is a glimpse into the overall master plan of Klaus Schwab. He's stating that we're gonna know what you need before you even need it. We're gonna know what society needs before they even proclaim it. To the point where we don't even need a democratic process to elect officials because we already know what you need. We have the technology to create this new utopia where we can just meet all your needs. You just have to worry about just living. You'll own nothing and you will be happy. These are the NGOs that are influencing our nations. If you guys don't believe it, you guys need to start paying attention. Not only are they influencing our nations, they're influencing our national leaders, United Nations. They're all being consulted by Klaus Schwab, World Economic Forum, and other NGOs. Imagine a world where he's telling you that we're going to basically prop up puppets to force feed you information and lie to you and have you believe that you're happy, that all your human rights are being met, that you should be satisfied, and if you're not, something is intrinsically incorrect with you. Is this the future that we're dreaming of? Is this the future that we're advocating for? If we don't start paying attention, this is what we're going to be left with. Now, whenever someone brings up the idea that they're trying to purposely destroy and flatten the West because of our ideals of individual liberties and freedom of speech, press, democracy, capitalism, you'll be labeled a conspiracy theorist. But these people are telling you in the open what they're advocating for in the world that you're going to live in. You guys let me know your thoughts down in a comment. These are some incredibly interesting videos, a lot to take from them. But You guys comment down below, like, and subscribe. Deuces.